Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you have not watched my previous video, the introduction video where I have introduced like what is the agenda of today's uh, session, like I will be basically dockerizing an application and a database server, and I will be make a communication between them. And so let's get started. So first and foremost thing, what do you need? You need a server. Okay, so you can do the same thing on local, but I am going to create a server. I am going to launch an instance. Let's name a server like Docker. And I will be choosing here Ubuntu 20. Okay, after that scroll Ubuntu 20 LTS. After that, what we have to do, I am going for instance type like T2 micro is fine, but I am going for T2 medium. You can select a key pair. Okay, so this is the one I have already created, so I will be using this. So this is fine, and here I will be choosing the space as 20 GB. Okay, as of now, and you can launch the instance. Meanwhile, let me duplicate and let's prepare so that I can install all the required packages, whatever is required. So what you have to do, you just have to go back to my GitHub repository, and there will be a folder you are already using for installation, right? The same you will be using here, installation script is there. You just go there. Okay, let's see if our server is up and running. Okay, so we have to do the setup, like we are dockerizing, so Docker is required, right? So this is our Docker server here. Let's let's take the IP and let me SSH to that server. Okay, let's check the key. Fine, accept. So I have logged into my server, right? So now I have to install the Docker things. Let's go to my installation guide and let's see where is Docker. So this is Docker, right? That is required. So let's copy the command and let's start executing on the Docker server. So let me pause the video and come back to you once this will be installed. Okay, so this is done. Okay, let's execute the rest commands. Do not try to execute all at a time, that is not going to help you. Okay, now let's start updating the Docker cache policy. Where is that? I think it is not understanding. Okay, once that is done, what the next command? Now we can install the Docker, correct? So this is the one. Let's take these two commands. One is commented, no worries. So it will take some time. Let me pause the video and come back once this is done. So once this is done, let's check either Docker is installed or not. Okay, so you can see it is something like permission is denied. So for that, what you have to do, just take this command and execute. Now try the again. Okay, So now your Docker is up and running. So now you just follow the steps whatever I'm saying. So first thing what you need to create a Docker file. So let me give you a quick walkthrough of my application so that it will be easy for you. So this is the pom.xml, and here you can see in the last I am giving this jar name as a this is Spring Boot Mongo Docker. So whatever jar will be created, the name will be this. Apart from that, what is the application is all about. This is a book application, book storage, you can say library application, where you can store the books and you can see list the number of the books. So you can see here, so you can post the a number of books. Like if you will go to this model, so you have to provide the id, you have to provide the name, you have to provide the author name. These three details you will be able to share. Okay, so you can list the book, you can list the book, you can post the book if you want to post a new details. Okay, so this is a simple Java application. Apart from this, let me introduce you with one of the most important file. Let's come to this resources, and there is application.yaml, and here you can see this is what will help you to connect your application means this front end, right? This will have some UI, but we are not focusing yet on UI, we just have to Dockerize, right? So this is what the service, okay, this is what help the front end to connect with the database on this port. This is very important file. Okay, so make sure this is the database we will create the Docker container with this port on which this will get connected. Okay, so hope you understood. Let's go ahead and let me write a simple Docker file, and we will try to make the connection. We will try to do the CLI method first. Okay, so Docker file is here. So I will be writing here multi-stage Docker file instead of creating jar. I do not have Maven installed on my local, so instead of generating the jar, I will do what? I will make use of multi-stage Docker file for the best coding practices. From base image you have to define, so you just have to use Maven, right? So that you can generate the artifact. So give it some name. This is called aliasing. If you want to choose any work directory, let's choose. This is the best practices to choose it. Okay, if you are not defining, that is not a good practice. Okay, once this is done, what we will do, we will copy all the code from this current directory to, either you can do /app, this is your dedicating to your current work directory, or you can directly dot. This will do what? This dot means your current working directory, and this dot means whatever you have selected of your container. This is your container workspace. Okay, once this is done, you have to run Maven command, simply Maven install. Okay, and after that we need to make use of the artifact, right? We need to launch the application. So I will be using OpenJDK MS version 8. Fine, and let's define a work directory here as well, /app. And I have told the same thing many times. Now you will be able to write it, I guess. So here you have to define copy from where the artifact will get generated, the jar files, right? What is the jar file? This is the final name the jar file will have, correct? So you can copy this. Okay, come back to the Docker file, and here you have to, where will the artifact will get generated? In the /app/target, this name, correct? And where it you want to copy, I want to copy here. So in the from the cache, it is copying the artifact from this folder. This is what, this is the containers work directory, right? This is the container, and Java generates its artifact in the WAR files into this target directory. In the target directory we will have jar file, name this. Just copy this from this cache to this container. Okay, it will neglect this. That is why it is called multi-stage Docker file. So once this will get copied, okay, I missed the jar, right? What is the next? We have to execute. Okay, and one more thing, sorry, one more thing, you can make use of this. At which port do you want to expose this? This is just an instruction. This is not going to work. This is just an instruction. Whoever want to create a container, they just have to do this. In the executable section, just write the command how to execute the jar. You know, right? Java hyphen jar hyphen, and here you have to provide this name. Copy and paste dot jar. So once this is done, you can save it. Okay, once this is done, you can save it, and let's commit this. So you will be thinking how we will use this code to this repo. Simply I will clone it, don't worry. So this is our application. Let's check if we have the Docker file is here, right? Let's take the link from here, go to your server, clear it server, and let me make it little bit dimmer. Appearance. Okay, so now let's clone this. Okay, git, make sure your Ubuntu has git installed. For me it is by default installed. Okay, once this is done, you can see cd you can cd to your application. This is the name of your application. I have chosen a big name. Okay, nobody's. And here what you have to do, the first thing you have to do, once you have the code, the first thing you have to do, okay, now focus. First thing you have to do, you just have to pull a MongoDB image. So what is the command? Docker pull mongo, and I will be using latest image, latest docker pull. Okay, let's wait. Once this will pull the latest MongoDB image. Okay, so we have, let's check docker image ls. So we have the MongoDB image now. Okay, so now this is the database, this is the MongoDB we want to use to connect with our Spring Boot application, correct? So I will be creating a container with this image. Okay, how to create a container? Docker run, I want to run it in this way, detached mode, and let's expose some port. So by default port of MongoDB is, how you will know, just go to Docker Hub, MongoDB, so this is what image we are using, right? I have used the latest tag. So these are the tags you can use, supported tags. You can see these are the tags you can use, supported architect. Okay, and let's see what we came for here. What is the default port? It should be only. Okay, So this is the default port we will be using, 27017. Okay, just come back to your server, -p 27017 27017. And if you want to give some name, so I will be giving Mr. DevOps MongoDB. This is the name I want to give to my database, and here I have to provide the Mongo image name and with the latest tag. Correct. So Docker will run a container, okay, and in the detached mode, like it will keep on running. I am exposing port this 27017 of my local, means this 2. Whenever I will use it to the IP of this, with this IP port, it will be forwarded to the container port, and the name I have given Mr. DevOps MongoDB, and this is the name of the image, and this is the tag I will be using. Just hit enter. Okay, so now your container, database container, is ready. Docker, correct. Now your container is ready. So what is next? Your database is ready. Now we have to focus on the application Dockerizing part, right? So how we will do that? So go to the application. So I am there in my application. There is a Docker file, right? So now I have to Dockerize my application. So let's run the command for Dockerfile. So first we have to create an image, and then we have to create a container, right? So what's the command? Docker build -t, let's tag it something, springboot -docker. Okay, so docker build, and I am going to tag with this name. Docker build -t springboot hyphen mongo, and you can provide any version, like I'll be using this version. And where is the Docker file? This, that is in current working directory, so I have given a dot, right? So docker build, this will be tagged springboot hyphen mongodb. Okay, let's use this mongodb, and then colon, and this is the version. Just hit enter. It will try to pull the image. Now it is trying to dockerize our application. Okay, so let's wait until this is done. So it is running the first stage, our Docker file. You can see mvn install command has been executed now. So build is succeed, guys. So now it is running our second stage of the Docker file. Great. So now once you will do docker image ls, you can see this is the name of our front end application, that is Spring Boot, right? And now one more thing I forgot to tell you, like when you will do docker container ls, you have some container. You have this name, right? Mr. DevOps MongoDB. You just have to use the same name to your code. Okay, where I told you there is an important file, go to source, go to main, go to resources, go to application.yml, and this is the name. You have to match it. If it is same, correct, so make sure you are mentioning it correct, then only your data application will get connected to the database, otherwise no. Okay, so once this is, we are good with that. Then what is the next step? We have dockerized the container, dockerize the database, but we have just created the image of our front end application. We need one more container, right? For the front end, according to our image, we need one container for Spring Boot and one Docker container second for MongoDB. MongoDB is done. Now we have to create a container for this Spring Boot. So let's create now. Docker run -p. And do you remember, right, in while dockerizing, while writing the Docker file, we given some port. That is why. So someone will create container using that image. They will come to know. Let me clear this file. Docker run -p 8080 of my local to the 8080 of container, and you want to give name will be Spring Boot. So here what I will do, uh, so this is the name of the container. So here what we are doing, basically we are creating a container for the application. Along with that, I will be doing what, I will be linking this application container with the Docker container, like the backend container, that is the database container. Okay, so what is the command? Hyphen link. So we are creating and linking both at the same time. So what was the name we given? Okay, let me comment this, please. Sorry for that. Docker container ls and Docker image ls, so that I can see. And fine. Now let's run this command. Let's continue with this command. Okay, so where you need to link with which container? Your database container, that is this name, correct? And whatever container application you are creating, that should be linked with this database container. Okay, and you have to provide the name of the image. Okay, what image, official image you are using, okay, in the detached mode. And now you have to provide the image for your application, correct? What is the application image, front end application image, this, right? And what is the version? 1.0. Hope you understood, don't be confused. So what I am doing, I am just creating a container for application. Okay, with which image? With this image, right? We have dockerized our front end with this image. That is why Docker run, and we are exposing at 8080, correct? That we mentioned in the Docker file. And here this is just a simple name. You can name it anything, MongoDB, Spring Boot MongoDB. And now I just use this simple command hyphen link with the running container we created for database, this. Okay, there is no any rocket science here, just hit enter. Okay, now once this is done, we can see two containers, Docker container ls. Oops, I always make mistake while tapping this. Again, sorry. Okay, something wrong. Docker it got exited. Maybe something wrong we have done. Let's see, Docker logs, and this is the container ID. Let me check and come back to you. So let's come back here. I can see jar Spring Boot, so that is why it is throwing error. Okay, let's go back and let's see our Docker file. See, it should be java-jar. Sorry, I didn't notice. Okay, Again, what you have to do, again we have to take the same code, or let's edit there only. Okay, and we have to dockerize it again. Okay, so where are we? Vi Dockerfile. That is why it is not working. Java -r, correct. Now what we have to do, we just have to again run the command to create the sorry, we have to dockerize this thing again. Docker image ls. So we do not need this image, right? So let's remove this docker image. Rm, which image you want to remove? This image I want to remove with this version. Docker image rm springboot -f. Once this is done, you will see docker image ls. Fine. Now let's again try to dockerize our application. So what was the command, guys? Docker, where is our docker file? There is our docker file. Let's do fastly. Docker build -t springboot -mongodb. What will be the version? This. And where is the docker file? This springboot. So let's hit enter. Let me pause and come back to you once this dockerizing things will be done. Once this is done, we have to use the same command, guys. To we have used to link, just hit the up arrow. Okay, make sure you have written everything fine. Okay, just hit enter. The MongoDB is already in use by container this docker ls. Maybe we do not remove the containers, that is why ls-a. So here we are seeing troubleshooting as well. Do not worry about that. Docker container rm, and this is the one we want to remove this, correct. Now again do docker container ls-a, docker container ls-a. Why it is not getting deleted? Docker container ls-a. Array. Which one? C0. Hopefully this time it should go. Docker container all. Okay, so it went, guys. Now let's try to link again. Hit enter. Done. Now try to do docker. We should see two container running. Okay, so this time it is running fine, correct. So how we will check this is working or not? So let's see, is it our front-end application got connected to the backend or not? So what command you will use? Docker logs and the id. Hit enter. So here I can see Tomcat started. So here we can see our front end Docker container. In the logs we can see it got connected with the MongoDB at this port, correct? So once this is done guys, let's check. Let's go back to the container. Let's take the IP of this instance, go to your postman. So here we go, and in the postman try to hit this. Here you have to provide the IP and at which port, 8080, right? We are hitting the application side and this is the book. Just try to get something. Oh, so right now it will be empty, right? Because nothing is there into our MongoDB database. So you can see status is okay, but we have nothing. So second thing, what our application is listed, there is nothing, right? This is empty. Let's try to post something. Post, and this is the ID 1. Let's send this to our database. So it's got an entry. Okay, again let's try to post some more. ID 2. Hit enter. Great. So we will have now 2 entry into our MongoDB database. So this is the front end URL we have used, right? So now let's go to get and try to do list all the books whatever is present. So we can see there is 2 books in the list. If you want to know more clearly, then let's go to our database only. Okay, now here we will do what? Here we will try to go to our MongoDB container. Let's see, Docker container. Okay, what is the MongoDB? Here this is the MongoDB container, right? Let's see, Docker exec -it, the container name /bin/bash. I took the interactive terminal mode of my MongoDB Docker container. Once this is done, let's log into the Mongo shell. So just type mongo sh. Great. Now you logged into your MongoDB. Great. Now what you have to do, you just have to see all the databases. So DBs, we should see our books application here, database. So book is there guys, right? Now what you have to do, we have to use this book, use book. So it switched to books. Now just hit show collections. So we can see our object here, correct? Now what we have to do, I just want to see all the books, right? So what I will do, I will do just db dot books. I am taking the object dot find dot pretty. So we can see exactly the data has been entered from the front end to the backend application in this way, correct? Now once we have done the connection using the first link, the CLI mode, now let's do the same thing using Docker Compose, the alternative way. Okay, so let's go back to your code again, and here we will start writing the Docker hub, so Docker Compose file. So just go to the resources, and in the resources hit on that, and let's create here a file Docker Compose. It will be here only. So what will be the naming convention for the Docker file? Docker Compose file, Docker Compose dot YAML. Okay, so now what you have to do, let's do one thing. Let's just remove all the things whatever we have created. This in means I'm in the CLI mode. Hit exit from here. Docker containers ls, remove it. Docker containers rm -f forcefully this image. this container and this container. No container should be running here. Perfect. Now we will write the docker compose file, so that docker compose will only take care of these all things. How to write version, what version you want to use. Let's see the default one. Here we will write the services. So I want to create this services. So Mr. DevOps MongoDB, and what image you want to use for this database, guys, you have to provide. So we have used MongoDB latest, right? Mongo and latest. So whatever we have done through the CLI, that same we are doing here. Okay, and this is the service we will create, right? You saw, right, while we have created. Okay, okay, so I have deleted the container. You saw, right, the first container we have created. Okay, if you will go to this part, this application.yaml, the same name we have used, right? The same service name we will be using here as well, correct? And this is the image we have used, and now we have to name the container name. Container name, what we give, so let's give it some meaningful name. The same name I will give, and here you have to expose the port, right? Port to expose the MongoDB. So we saw, right, we will do the port mapping 27017 to the container 27017. So this part is done. Now we have to run the second service. What was the second service? We have created the front end, correct? The Spring Boot, the same name I have used earlier also, so that you will be able to correlate Spring Boot MongoDB. Once this is done, the same requirements you have to fulfill here. What image you want to use? So I want to use this image. With which tag? 1.0. Okay, you can make it any tag, right? Because you are creating. What is the container name you want to give? So container name I will use the same. Okay, which port? So port I will be exposing here 8080 as per the Dockerfile. You remember, this is the application port, right? The front end port. And now we have to create the links, right? So just simply come here and write the links. So this front end should be linked with, the front end should be linked with this service, correct? Perfect. So this is the service, database service. I have given the name, and it will pull this image, and it will try to create the container name using that image, and it will expose this port. Database part is done. In the second phase, we are creating the front end Spring Boot application, correct? It will use this image. This image we already have, right? We already have here this. Okay, we have already dockerized, right? So it will use that, and this is the version we have, and this is the port we are exposing, and this is the link. This is the link, same name you have to use. So once you are good, git add, or let's better do one thing. Let's copy this and git. Okay, let's do one thing, git add, git commit. Let's push it. We will try to clone it again from scratch, and we will do the things. Okay, once this is done, let's come back and let's list it, remove the previous one. So this is a directory, not a file. rm-rf delete it, ls. Now git clone, go back to your application, let the commit, latest commit is docker compose added. Copy the URL again, go back, git clone this, nice, hit enter. And once this is done, what we have to do, guys, you just have to read to the particular directory. What is that directory? This source main resources, and here you will get the docker file. So just go there to DevOps source main resources. Okay, let's clear the screen, ls. So you have the docker compose .yaml. Do not try to give any other name, okay, just try to give the same name what I have given. So now let's try to do docker compose up -d. So it will not understand docker compose because we have not yet installed, right? So we have to do the installation of docker compose. Let's just go back to the installation script. Let's search for docker compose here, and let's copy the commands, copy, go back and paste here. Docker compose version you will be able to see, right? Now just hit the command docker compose up -d. So this is done. So both are up now. We will be able to see two containers running, docker. So these two containers are up and running, right? You can check the logs of the front end so that you can see the connection. So this is from the scratch, so that is why you will not be able to see any data as of now, correct? So now what you can do, go for postman again, and now let's try to get. This time it should be empty, right? Because it is a new, all data lost, right? We have created from. So you can see this is empty and status code is 200. Okay, now let's try to hit some data. So okay, sorry, post, and just hit enter. One data inserted. Let's try to enter some other data. Who wrote this book? Some random name. Hit enter, hit send, it went. Now you will try to do get. Perfect. Now you can see, right? Now you want to see in the container, that also you can see. Just clear the screen, docker ls. Let's log into the MongoDB, right, where the data is. Docker exact -it, what the container name, and you are inside the container. Now Mongo shell, it should connect. Okay, now let's see, list all the databases. So DBs, here we go, we see the book here again. Use this book, see the collection. Great, you can see. Now let's try to find the data. So db dot books dot find dot pretty. So this is the way. So hope you understand how the communication happens between two containers, if one is front end and one is database. This is the clear picture, guys, so that you can answer in your interviews as well this scenario. And in the next video we will see the same thing we should do using Kubernetes, right? So this is all about today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.